The days of needing $1 million to live off dividends forever are over. If I had $400,000 to invest, this is the exact portfolio I would consider, and why, if I were leaving the rat race tomorrow to live comfortably off dividends forever, I would do it way before the traditional retirement age of 65. My friends call me Taylor, and you can too. The majority of the men in my family died prematurely in their 40s and 50s. So faced with my own mortality, as I'm now in my mid-30s, I'm using investing to work less, spend more time with family, and enjoy the simple things in life. As always, this content is not financial advice. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and nothing in this video should be interpreted as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any investment or financial product. All right, so getting started. For this scenario, I'm targeting a $400,000 portfolio and $50,000 worth of annual income. With this income and lower portfolio value, I've taken tax consideration in as a high priority when doing portfolio construction. With $400,000 of traditional dividend stocks like Coca-Cola or Realty Income, you won't produce enough income, especially when you take tax drag into consideration. The high return of capital in some of these covered call funds should help offset that in early retirement. So up first, we have SPYI, the NEOS S&P 500 covered call ETF, with a yield at the time of recording right around 12%. Investing my first $100,000 here gives me an annual income of $12,000 or $1,000 a month. Since inception on August 30th, 2022, it has a price return of about 9%, a total return of almost 70%, which is rather good considering you're selling some of the upside with the covered calls. The distributions monthly have been very consistent as well, ranging from about 48 cents to 52 cents on average. Consistent payments are a positive when thinking about living off your portfolio. You want the same amount coming in every month or as close to the same amount so that you can plan your bills accordingly. Up next, we have a favorite of mine, SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, which we'll be adding another $100,000 of. As of the time of recording, it has a yield of right about 3.33%, which may seem lackluster, but it has a 10-year compound annual growth rate of just over 10%. While SPYI's distributions should be steady, this will provide us some much-needed dividend growth to combat inflation. Another plus is there is essentially zero overlap between the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, which is great for diversification as well. Next up, I'm choosing $50,000 worth of XQQI, the NEOS boosted or leveraged NASDAQ fund that has a staggering yield of 20%. In part, not only due to this boosted yield, and this fund's kind of a baby, hasn't been out very long at all. That's why I'm actually only doing $50,000 of this one. I'm going to pair it with another ETF here in a second, but nevertheless, $50,000 at a 20% distribution rate adds another $10,000 to our yearly income. So what am I pairing it with, you may ask? GPIQ is the Goldman Sachs NASDAQ covered call ETF. I've chosen to split this tranche between the two because GPIQ seems to have a very good NAV appreciation while giving out less of a dividend, which is good because with time, we do want this portfolio to grow in value. So yield of around 10%, meaning we're on a $50,000 investment, we're adding $5,000 per year. So whether you love it or hate it, next up, we're going to add some Bitcoin diversification. And if you do not like Bitcoin, I have an alternative as well. So adding $50,000 worth of BTCI from NEOS, averaging 26% yield, adds another $13,000 in yearly income. Bitcoin's had a rough year. There's no way around it. If you were looking for an alternative to Bitcoin, I would actually just add more NASDAQ exposure. I've really been enjoying the TAP Alpha TDAX leveraged fund lately. It's done very well since inception, writes 0 DTE covered calls, and pays weekly. So here for the last two smaller positions, I've chosen MLPI, the Master Limited Partnership by NEOS, which is a play on energy. And then PFFA, which is just preferred stock exposure, just to give us a little more added diversification. So adding in the PFFA, it's going to add $2,500 to our grand total. So with this portfolio in total, we are just shy of $50,000 per year or $4,200 a month. That will be a great supplement to Social Security. Or if you lived well below your means, I think a lot of people could retire on this, especially when we take into account that most of this income is going to be a return of capital, which isn't taxed in the year you receive it. It lowers the cost basis until that reaches zero. If you live in the US, the government's actually very, very lenient on return of capital as well as long-term capital gains rate, which this would eventually be taxed at, or if you've ever heard of tax gain harvesting, I think this year it's up to about $131,000 with the standard deduction, give or minus a little bit, that you could actually tax gain harvest. So you could sell these, wait, and then rebuy them to reset your cost basis if need be, and inevitably kick that tax can down the road even farther. Because let's face it, getting a yield like this, tax on your $4,200 would significantly reduce that, even at 12%. Also, in early retirement, when you're thinking about healthcare, having a very low adjusted gross income will currently help you qualify for subsidies. I'm by no means an expert on that. You would have to kind of look into all of that on your own. But definitely the covered call ETFs, if you have a high income and you want to supplement something on the side, the return of capital could be great from a lot of different angles, which is why I think a lot of people are drawn to these funds, especially the NEOS funds, which have high distribution rates and a high return of capital. I've seen a lot of people that like those more than the GPIQ or the Goldman Sachs funds, because the Goldman Sachs funds have a little bit more appreciation. A lot of people seem to just want that return of capital now. They want the higher distribution to live off of. So I think there's trade-offs on the total return. But as long as we continue this multi-year tech bull run that we've been in, I think all of these funds should continue to perform very well. While I don't think the bulk of people could retire on $4,200 a month, I do think a portfolio like this, to the right person that doesn't care to go back to work, if things go south and we have a sequence of return that isn't great in the first few years of retirement, or someone that wants to go freelance, they hate their job, they just want to get out of the rat race and do something on your own, I think a portfolio like this could provide some supplemental income for you to, follow your dreams. Like all the men in my family, the average age of the ones that have passed away, my grandfather, father, brother, 2 uncles, the average age was 50. So I'm going to be dedicating the next few videos. I'm going to maybe call it my plan 50 or project 50. So I want to enjoy these next 15 years. And I plan to use the stock market to help me get ahead and do that. So if you guys enjoyed watching, absolutely hit the like button, subscribe, see some more videos on the channel. I'm looking forward to putting out some more videos for you guys. If you have any comments or questions, drop those below too. I'm happy to read over all those. Otherwise, have a great day, guys, and live every day to the fullest. Take care.